Hi everyone. This video will be a tutorial for PSY 222 Research Methods in the Psychological Sciences, demoing how to build APA-style tables in Microsoft Word. It can be really frustrating to get these tables to lay out the way you want them to lay out. Over the years, I've learned some shortcuts for how to do this. Well, not really shortcuts, just how to use the program and its features in order to create the look that I want for my tables. Now, I've taken this table out of the APA manual, specifically out of the sample paper that is posted for you on D2L. And I want to show you how, if you were building your own table, you could replicate the appearance of a perfectly formatted table in the context of Microsoft Word. The way I do it is by using the insert tables function. So first, I'm going to, the table indicator and the title are not part of the table. So I'm going to start by using, switching to bold and typing table 1, and then I turn bold off, go down 2 spaces, and I type the title in italics. Now it is expected that you have things like this double spaced, which I should have set up before. Notice that I'm going to go to the spacing feature, switch it to double, and then since I had hit the enter key more than once, I'm going to correct that. Then I'm going to move down, I'm going to turn off the italics. Now before I go to the insert tab at the top of my page, I want to count the number of columns and the number of rows that I expect to need. Now you can always add columns and rows later if you miscount or if you decide to add or remove something. But it looks like I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. So go up to Insert and Insert Table. So I want 5 columns and 6 rows. And you can see I did that with just my mouse to have it select that. Once I've selected it, what you see is a grid, and at this point it's going to have all of its borders present, and we're just going to leave that for now. And we'll remove those borders and replace them with the borders that we want later after we get the content built. So I actually tend to go from the data, I do the data first and then go out to the headings and the notes because I'm going to need to do something called merging cells or merging across columns, for example, in order to put some of these labels in where they belong. So I'm going to start with, let's see, 2 rows at the top, and then I need year 1, year 2, year 3. And that was 2012. I'm going to reduce the size of my screen here so I can see things a little differently. Now up here, I'm going to want to do I'm going to lock my caps on. and put the M's and SD's. Now I need them all to be italicized. So I go back to the Home tab and put them there. I'm going to center everything later when I'm done completely. So here we have 71.72, tab over, tab over. Go to my next group. My last group. Sorry, I'm such a dramatically slow typist, at least when it comes to this. Okay, so I've got most of my data built in, my headings. Now I need to do something to further label these columns and the differences between the two types of course. So here, these means and standard deviations are for the face-to-face course. These means and standard deviations are for the online course. To have this centered across the top, I need to do something called merging. So I go to my Layout tab, and it says Merge Cells. And I just have to click on that and see how it now has created one space. Oops, my caps lock was on. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to merge those cells. And then over here, I'm going to merge these cells for administration year. Now, since I was double spacing up here, it's going to kind of try and force me to double space. I like to remove that. So within my table, and in fact I'm going to do it to the whole table, I'm going to revert that to single space for the moment. And then you'll notice I'll do something like this. If you grab a hold of that square, see how I have that double-ended arrow? If you grab a hold of that square, you can stretch your table to make it more visually pleasing. Now, you notice that the left-hand side, the vertical, those headings are typically flush left. So we're going to leave them flush left, but I find it more visually attractive to correct my layout. This section here, you can see the image right now. We have the alignment is at the top left for this whole column. I want it to be in the middle, but still flush left. Now, for the rest, up here, they're all centered. So I'm going to highlight all of these, and I'm going to go center, center. So instead of top center, this is center, center, and this is bottom center. I want center, center. Then I have my note down here. Do notice that notes underneath tables are double spaced, just like the title of the table and the label of the table. Now I'm including it in the table. I don't have to. I mean, I could type it down here just as well. But I wanted to show you how you could do this if you want to do it this way. I'm going to merge these cells again, make them all one block, And this time I do want it to be flush up to the top, and I want it to be double spaced. So I go like that. And let's see if I can make enough space I can see what I'm typing. So you have the word note is in italics. And actually it is a period and not a colon. Student evaluations of teaching. Okay, finally. Gosh, that was painful. All right, so now I need to deal with all of my lines. So the way I do this is I highlight the whole thing. I go to my table design tab this time, and here you have this button here called borders. And to start, I remove all the borders. So I tell it no borders. Then I go systematically through the process of adding borders, only the borders that I want, back in. So here I want a top border. Oops, crap. Hate it when that happens. And then here, I was afraid that would happen. I'm going to have to do it one cell at a time, or sets of cells. I want a bottom border. And I also want a top border. And then in this cell, I want a bottom border. See how I did that? And then down here, on my bottom row, I want a bottom border. And what I end up with is a nice, clean, organized. I don't have to do any tabbing or spacing. It's all taken care of for me, and it's all in one place. My note is perfectly centered underneath the table. Now, if I wanted to, and I've seen a lot of people do this, they will go in and instead of having a free-floating table label and title, they will instead go to their layout tab, and you can, I should just leave that there. I'm going to insert a row above. So see these tabs? If I want to add a row or add a column, I can do that. This tab allows me to delete rows. So what if I wanted to insert a row above, and I want to, actually I need 2 rows. I want to put the table indicator in one of those rows and the title in the next row. So I could do this. appears to still be merged and centered. And then I need to put it double spaced. Now I need to mess with my borders again. So I'll start by removing them, and then I want to put one back in, which would be a bottom border. And there you have it. So what I've shown you here is how to use Microsoft Word to reproduce a table like the one in your sample paper that's posted on D2L. Hopefully this video will be helpful to you. If you have questions about steps that I took, if I move too fast, sometimes I will do things on my keyboard or on my mouse that you may not be familiar with or that I don't explain properly. So if you have questions, just let me know.